because we were gonna need the fat dough today, and I didn't want to do a class on it, but I'm gonna kind of do a class on it. So that video is at the beginning. We're gonna be making what is probably my favorite, I don't know. We made pumpkin pancakes on Sunday, and we were fighting for them. I didn't think they'd be that good. They were really good. And then we're gonna make a breakfast pizza, which we had for dinner last night, and it was a huge hit too. And then we are trying a recipe that I've seen floating across Pinterest a lot and haven't made yet, but I think it's pretty simple. I just wanted to try it and see how it tasted, and since the breakfast theme was going on today, that's what we're doing. So what we're gonna do to start here is just make our fathead dough. So in here I just have my mozzarella cheese and my cream cheese already melted, ready to go, and we'll leave it there for just a second. If you're a microwave person, use your microwave to melt the cheese. You're totally fine doing that. But what I'm gonna add to my mixer, and you can do this by hand. The first few times that I made it, I actually did it by hand, but then I started realizing I could do like multiple batches in my electric mixer. So it doesn't matter, do whatever you prefer. So I'm doing a double batch of the pizza today. But in there, what do I have? I have my almond flour and eggs, because I'm doubling it. Wrong side. I'm going to go ahead and add a teaspoon of my Fijian sea salt. And then 2 teaspoons of the white wine vinegar. If you were microwaving it, normally you'd just be doing this in between intervals. This is so easy to make. And this is the same thing if you watched the video last week that we made the veggie bars out of. So, in the evening. You want to show them what that looks like? It literally is nothing fancy or great. It's just super easy. And then I'm going to add my cheese. Now, when you add your cheese to this, if you're mixing it by hand, I would almost say use your hands, because you want to really make sure it gets mixed. But when you're using an electric mixer, you got to be a little bit patient with it, because it's cheese, and cheese is kind of rubbery and it gets twisted and stuff around. So what I'll do is after it goes for a minute and it's all stuck around the thing, I just kind of break it once it's a little bit cooler, because when it's cooler it's not stretching around everything so much. I'll just break it into a couple pieces. If you're using an electric mixer, make sure you have a dough open. It will just work easier. And you can see how it's forming a dough. Have you all made it started? You haven't? Okay, and you can see then it just mixes together like this dough, and that's it. It's so awesome, and it's so easy, and can be used for a million different things. Pizza that we're making, because it's a breakfast pizza, we're going to actually be pouring some raw egg on it. So we want to make sure, I'm just rubbing my hands down with coconut oil. We want to make sure that our pizza crust has a lip around the edge to hold all of that in. So I'm just going to do the best I can and split it in half, because that's 2 pieces, 2 pizzas. And then you can put another piece of parchment over and roll it out, but I'm just kind of this is way quicker. One less dirty dish. That was that cheese right there that I overcooked when I was doing it. Okay, so you can get it pretty thin because it's going to puff up. If you were using this pizza as just a regular pizza crust, on the recipe it says half of a pizza is a serving. I haven't been able to ever eat half of a pizza. It's too much for me. But you could, and it's fine. You just want to keep in mind that fathead dough is very high in protein, way higher than it is in fat. And so when you use it, make sure that you're putting fattening stuff on it, or that if you make a pizza with it, that you actually have a salad with a really fattening dressing, or just something to complement it. If you don't have any of that, you always have fat bombs, and those work good too. Okay, so I've got it all rolled out flat. Now I'm going to kind of roll this in around the edge, just like that. And see how it creates a lip? If you wanted to use a baking pan that had a side, almost even like a pie dish, I mean, you could use any of that. I use pizza stones, so they're flat, so I definitely need to have this lip on here. Okay, and then what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna go ahead and pre-bake it. Oh, there's more of that cheese. We're gonna go ahead and pre-bake it for about 10 minutes before we put all the wet stuff on it. So I always just preheat my stones in the oven while it's heating up, or I'm preparing whatever I'm preparing. So 10 minutes. Okay. While that's going, let me turn this lower oven on. Okay. While that's going, we're going to go ahead and make our pumpkin batter. So this is kind of a combination of a lot of recipes. Right after I made it up, I hurried and wrote it down because I always make up something. Then I have to go make it again to make sure it's right. One recipe will make 16 pancakes. I'm doing a double batch today because they're so good. I was going to surprise my kids after school. So what I have in here is so everything I'm doing is double. I have 8 eggs, a block of cream cheese, 1 cup of pumpkin puree. Make sure you don't get pumpkin pie mixture. Pumpkin pie mixture has lots of sweeteners and things in it. This is just straight up pumpkin. A 1/2 cup of whipping cream, 4 tablespoons of granulated erythritol, which is a 1/4 cup. And then I've got baking powder, cinnamon, and cloves. And just because this is a little bit full, before I add our keto fuel, I'm going to blend it here for a second. Okay, so hope this fits in here. One recipe would normally be 2 cups, which is equivalent to 4 servings of keto fuel. So you can see where you're, don't worry that you're using all this keto fuel. You're just making a meal out of it instead of a shake. Actually, several meals. Okay. So 2 cups of keto fuel, which is equivalent to 4 packages. Each serving is a 1/2 cup. I measured it. That is cool. I do need a better blender. I'm the chef that has all my good blenders at work and not at home. This is not the best blender. If I had my pick, I'll tell you it would be a vitamin.
From
Yes.
Kayla asking, can you do this with something else other than pumpkin if you don't like pumpkin?
I don't know. The only recipe I've made it with is pumpkin. Whatever you do, like I can't imagine, you wouldn't be able to use apples or anything. I mean, all those would be high carb. Pumpkin is a pretty low carb. Pumpkin's a pretty low carb fruit. I don't know, is it considered a vegetable? Might be in the squash family. I have no idea. So probably not. But If you really don't like pumpkin, let me just tell you, this isn't like a pumpkin pie. It's not that consistency. It tastes more like a spiced pancake, if you will. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not a super strong pumpkin-y flavor. Now let me show you, I know there's a lot of opinions out there on syrups and stuff like that that you use. Patty introduced me to this, and it's the Lecanto monk fruit syrup. And I bought it straight from their website. They had a 40% off, so I bought a case. Patty said it was good, so I'm like, it'll be good. And my kids love it. They can't even tell the difference. What I do though, see if you see it's really wide open on the top. Whoop. I pour it in one of these because otherwise we pour out way more than we need. A little goes a long way. And if you've been doing keto for a while, you're probably a little bit more sensitive to sweet flavors anyway. So you guys will try that. And the other thing with these pancakes that you want to keep in mind, and I actually did figure out the macros. They're about 1 carb per pancake, but you need your fat to go up a little bit. So you want to make sure, like if you were having 3 pancakes as a serving, on Sunday we had it with a fried egg, bacon, and pancakes. So if you were having 3 as a serving, what I recommend doing is making sure you put a good amount of butter on them. We put like a teaspoon of butter on each one, and they were so good.
So another question, do you think you could make this recipe into plain pancakes if you left the pumpkin out entirely, or would that all
Well,
work?
yeah, that would just be the keto pancake or keto crepe recipe. It's a little bit different in measurements, but we do have one in there for that, and I think you could do this. I don't think it would alter.
Blueberries.
You could do blueberries, yeah. Blueberries would be good. What else? I mean, you could do any berries. You could add chocolate chips to this if you wanted, after you've mixed it. If you wanted pumpkin chocolate chip, just make sure they're the lilies, so they're sweetened with erythritol and stevia. I mean, you can do, in fact, the pumpkin roll that we made last week, I just bought a new mini loaf pan. I'm going to actually make pumpkin chocolate chip bread in it with the exact same recipe, and I think it will work out really good. So it's just go outside of the box and don't be afraid to try it. Okay. When I'm doing this, Stephanie, this is where I'm going to use you for a minute. She said she'll help. I almost checked my daughter out of school. And she's looking so skinny. She said she hasn't been on the scale, but I'm like, yeah, well, you need to. Okay, come over here. So on these, and I kind of did a height, these get dark fast, and so the first ones always get a little bit darker than the next batch, but seriously, it's like your lowest setting on heat. I used to have an electric skillet, and I totally forgot I didn't have one anymore until Sunday when we went down to Vegas for convention. The bellhop broke my thing, I know. And then it got confiscated because they thought we were cooking food in our room. The whole thing was devastating. Okay. So this, I'm doing literally, this is a little bit runnier than Sunday, but that's okay. I'm doing like a scant quarter cup. So it's not quite a quarter cup, just a little bit under. And I'm not real crazy about measuring things, but if you want to know, okay, there's 1 macro per serving, that's the size measurement. I mean 1 macro, 1 carb. And I'll show you. When they get bubbly, kind of like with the regular pancakes, they're a little bit runnier than normal. So do it. Okay, let me know we're so good on that. Okay, let's start. This is the one that I saw on Pinterest that I thought was just cool. So we're basically going to be making, I'm going to start melting that in there, scrambled eggs. If you like your scrambled eggs with stuff in them, great, put it in them. It doesn't really matter what you do. We're just going to do basic scrambled eggs today because we have a lot of stuff going on in the kitchen. So I figured on these, and I don't know for certain, but I figured that it would probably be about half of an egg in each one. So I'm just going to mix these up. I'm going to add some pepper and some of our Fijian salt here. And then we're just going to wait for this pan to heat up. And we're going to scramble it like you'd scramble eggs. Not too hard.
Trip a plate for when
Let me get you one. tricky. I'm gonna see how our pizza's doing. In most of the fathead dough recipes, it says to like poke it down so you don't get those air bubbles. But when it comes out before you put the toppings on, you can just do that. It puffs all the air. I just don't take the time to do it. So what we're gonna do to our pizza now. Now, last night when we were trying this recipe for the first time, I did one that was chorizo because I wanted to kind of do like a. You're good. Try it and see. We may need more butter.
I could tell it was.
You know what?
Brown.
You may just need more butter.
Okay.
They'll get dark, but they won't burn.
Okay.
No. Electric is better on this. Anyway, so I did a chorizo one that we served like guacamole and sour cream and stuff with. Everybody wanted this one. Like we were fighting over it. I had to finally tell my teenage son, but I'm doing keto and you're not, and you can go get something else in the fridge. Like we were rock, paper, scissoring it. So all I have in here is bacon that's already cooked and chopped up. And then I did the no nitrate Canadian bacon that you can find at Costco. So the original recipe had you do that separate, and then you took eggs in a separate bowl here. Are they? I'll help you just a second. That's awesome. Let me get a fork. And may have started out. There you go. See, success. Okay. So you're going to scramble these eggs up, and then what we're going to add to them, and this is because I'm doing a double batch, is a half a cup of whipping cream. Otherwise, it would just be 2 eggs and a quarter cup. Now, what they had you do on the other batch was a little bit different. I ended up mixing it all together after I did it. So today I'm going to do it a little different and mix the eggs and the whipping cream ahead of time with that. So you can see what it looks like. Okay. Then what we're going to do is come over to these pizzas and we're going to sprinkle just a little bit of cheese on here. Not a lot.
Cheddar cheese.
Huh? This is cheddar cheese, but mine doesn't have dye, so that's why it's not yellow. So you can get whatever kind of cheese you want. I do think that cheddar is better with this. So we're going to evenly divide this. I'm telling you, I did not know what I thought about this when we were making it. But it was so good. And you know it's always a win when everybody will eat it.
You're adding fat with the cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're adding fat to the cream, for sure. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do, I'm going to put them in the oven and then we'll make our other one, is top it with some cheese. Just like a pizza. Now this one is tricky because you really want to make sure that that egg is cooked and firmed up before you pull it out of the oven. So I'm going to put this in and then we'll get some things going here. Okay. And just like I've taught in all those classes, you've got to remember that just having eggs does not make it keto. So you want to add fat in ways that you can. Whether it's butter, coconut oil, it doesn't, whatever your preference is. So I'm going to add some whipped cream to this instead of the butter, or instead of milk. Milk is what I've done in the past, but now we do cream. And we're going to go ahead and scramble these up regular. And like I said, if I was going to add vegetables to these, I probably would have done those vegetables, sauteed them a little bit first. I like my vegetables to be really cooked when they're in eggs. But again, that's preference. There's no right or wrong there. And I put a couple tablespoons of butter in here also to add some more fat. And then I called one of my fellow ambassadors today. I know she adds cream cheese to her eggs a lot. Do you guys do that? I haven't done that. She said it's really good. So I thought, you know what? While we're at it, let's just do that today too. So once they're scrambled, we're going to go ahead and add in some cream cheese and melt it in with them.
So adding the cheese doesn't add fat. It's
Not
protein.
depending on what your cheese is, yeah. A lot of people think they're adding fat, but cheese like these are almost always equal. Sometimes they're, like mozzarella is higher in protein than it is fat. And that's why, like, if somebody takes a cheese stick and eats it for a snack, they could totally knock themselves out of ketosis. You gotta add, like, macadamia nuts with it, or chocolate chip cookie fat dough bombs, whatever they're called. Okay, so we're gonna add this, because you do want it to kind of melt around in there. And this will add fat. I am gonna add a little cheddar to it for flavor, because it adds a really good flavor to it.
How much cream cheese did you put in?
I didn't measure, but I'll put a measurement on there. I had a big log and I just cut a chunk off. So it's really your preference. If you love cream cheese, go for it. When I was picking the breakfast to do today, just because we had the pancakes and that, I was trying to pick something where you could try everything and not get yourself out of whack. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some cheese on there for flavor. I think other things that would be great in here are spinach, mushrooms. I love mushrooms with eggs. I really like bell pepper. Just watch your amounts. You don't want to get so many that you have too many that you're dealing with. Oh, you know what I forgot to put on the pizza? I'm going to add it right now. Let me show you this. This really was good. So after I cooked the bacon, I just cooked onions in the bacon grease. It adds a really good flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those on here really quick. We don't care if they're on top of the cheese, right? If you do care, I'll eat yours. Okay. Holy sorry about those. But again, it adds flavor, but it's another way to add fat. So don't be afraid of that bacon grease. Okay. I'm going to set this here and grab these. So I just went by my local deli today, and she cut a piece of ham just to see kind of what thickness. You don't want it so thin, I don't think. Now remind you, I haven't made this before, so this is me assuming, but I think you don't want it so thin that it's tearing, but you don't want it so thick that it has a lot of protein. You know what I mean? So get it as thin as you can without it tearing. You know, another thing I think that would be so good in these is fresh basil. That would be good. Okay, so basically I'm just going to fill this and roll it and put it in the pan. And you just repeat, right, until you have all of it done. With a half an egg a roll, I had planned on doing 16 roll-ups. And then what you're supposed to do after you get it filled is put it in the oven and broil it until it gets a little bit crisp, and then you can eat them. I think they would be delicious with hollandaise sauce on it. Just, there's so many ways you can add fat. Good old fat. Anybody have questions? Did any more questions come up on the feed?
Are you going to repost the fathead dough for the people who don't have that recipe?
I will. I'll repost it with the recipe. Yep. I will. And there's I was even noticing kind of the recipe that gave me the idea to do this breakfast pizza. I was noticing their fathead dough is a little bit different than mine, and it's okay. I think they probably all turn out the same.
Where do you get your white cheddar cheese without the dye?
So this is the Kerrygold. Is that Kerrygold? Is that the name of that butter? This is the Kerrygold brand, and I get it in a big chunk at Costco. And this is actually the Ireland aged cheddar cheese. But then when I get it, I just send it all through my food processor at the same time, so it's grated and ready to go when I need it. They have another one there that's like their actual cheddar. So Costco has a lot of good blocks of cheese. And, you know, in other countries, they don't advertise them as grass-fed cheese because all of their cheese is grass-fed. But if you read in the fine print, you can find ones that are grass-fed cheese. You just have to read, and I just feel like Costco has done a stellar job with that and having those available. And they're right next to where the Kerrygold butter is. And I use both. I use Costco's organic butter and I use the Kerrygold. It depends what I'm using it for. So, but the Costco organic is really good too. Any more questions? I feel like I have a lot of downtime here.
Have you done the Dunmore cheese from Ireland? It's a white cheddar.
Yeah, if I had my choice of the two Kerrygold brands, I like the cheddar flavor better. But my husband, I wish I had the packaging. It's called Irish cheese, I think. I probably sound like an idiot for anybody watching who knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Is it the Dubliner?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, it is. My husband likes that one better because he likes the stronger taste. So on something like this, I like the stronger taste too. It's good. Can't you see where hollandaise sauce would be so good on this one? Do it. Okay, I'm going to grab that egg. Okay, I should have put less egg in them or made more egg. That's a little baby one. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven and broil them for a few minutes. Let me check our pizza. Now, Carrie, why don't you come over here? I want to show them this. So when I first took it out last night, because I was thinking of it as like a fathead pizza. Well, when you do pizza, you're baking it at 400 degrees, so it's baking hotter. This is at 350, and you want to do that because you want that egg to firm up. So when you're looking at it, you just want to make sure, see how it's still gooey there? So normally if it was a pizza, I would take it out. It's still runny egg in there. So we're going to let it go just a little bit longer. And honestly, with egg, just 2 minutes can make all the difference in the world. So let's give that a minute. She'll keep doing pancakes here. She's such a professional pancake turner. I have this is a terrible pan. That's why I like the electric one better, but I should have just gone to my neighbor's house and borrowed hers. They'll taste good, I promise. Okay. If there's no more questions, well, we should show them the pizza, huh? Does anybody want to share something with this group? I'm trying to think of what else. Hey, I will tell you this. Next week, I am going to be in Phoenix. I wanted to go down and learn more about the skincare when Jennifer Sandeman was teaching, and I have family there, and it just, everything aligned that I could go down. So that weekend, if anybody here or that's watching has people that are in Arizona and would be interested in coming to Keto Made Easy or a cooking show down there, I'm going to do that. I'm not sure on the date yet. I think it will probably be Saturday, and the location will either be in Gilbert or Queen Creek. So I'll keep you posted. Look for more information on that. But if you have people down there that you want to learn about keto or come taste some keto food, that would be a good one to bring them to let them know about. You getting a call? Let me see how this looks down below.
So since it's kind of runny, I'm just doing the smaller pancakes.
Yeah, you're fine. And you know what? I'm wondering if the reason it's right. You know how sometimes when you double things, it turns out a little bit different? Sunday when I made them, they were really thick. And it could have to do with maybe the cream cheese was cooler, or there's whipped cream in there, and maybe it got more of a whipping when it was in the blender because it was a half batch. So I'd probably not doing don't do it I did unless you have a Vitamix, because they're awesome. And don't make a double batch. But just do a single at one time. Most people, a single will feed their family, but not with all my teenagers. We need a double. whoops, I turned the wrong oven off. I don't like waiting on the clock. This is like waiting for a pot to boil.
How do you know that when they're done?
The egg will be cooked through.
Okay.
So you want to kind of peel back the cheese and make sure the egg is cooked through.
And so you're just someone who doesn't like runny egg. I mean, some people like that, so I'm wondering about why you're cooking it so long.
Because I hate runny egg. Plus it's scrambled. Like it's a scrambled egg. I would think you would want it cooked through more. Do you like runny egg on your pizza?
You want the egg whites cooked.
Yeah, and they're mixed up.
I like runny
Okay, I'm thinking that we should just turn it off instead of having them wait, and we can show them pictures of the finished product, because it'll probably be like another 5 minutes. We good? Okay, bye. Let me know if you have questions.